Chosen one, hear this with your full attention, because what is being spoken into your life right now is not casual, and it is not coincidental. You did not come across this message by accident. There are no accidents when it comes to divine timing. Something far greater than chance has placed these words before your eyes at this precise moment, because there is a truth that has been waiting to reach you. A truth about what was done to you, about what you endured, and about what is coming because of it. What happened to you was seen. Every moment of it. Every tear you held back when you wanted to break. Every night you spent wondering why. Every time you were overlooked, dismissed, betrayed, or treated as though you were less than what you truly are, none of it went unnoticed. Not a single moment passed without being witnessed from above. You may have been told, directly or indirectly, that what happened to you was your fault. You may have been made to feel small, unstable, or unworthy by people who did not understand your value. There were those who looked at you and saw someone they could take advantage of. They saw someone they could speak against, undermine, replace, or walk away from without consequence. They acted with confidence, as though their actions would never catch up with them. They moved without guilt, without accountability, and without any fear of what their decisions would produce. But hear this clearly: what is done to a chosen vessel is never without consequence. What was done to you has already set something in motion that cannot be reversed. You may have felt, in the depths of those painful seasons, that you were alone. That no one saw what was happening. That the very people who should have stood beside you either walked away or became part of the problem. There were moments when you questioned everything: your purpose, your worth, your direction. You asked yourself why you were the one being tested so heavily while those who caused your pain seemed to move through life without disruption. You watched people who hurt you continue on as though nothing happened, while you were left to carry the weight of what they did. That is one of the most painful experiences a human soul can endure, watching injustice go unchallenged. But the key word is this: unchallenged yet. Because the challenge is coming, and it will not come from your hands. Type 99 if you know that God never misses a single thing. Because nothing, not one act, not one word spoken behind your back, not one door closed against you out of jealousy or selfishness, has slipped past divine sight. There is a record being kept that no human court could manage. Every conversation that took place about you when you were not in the room has been heard. Every decision that was made to exclude you, to diminish you, or to steal what was rightfully yours has been recorded. And there is a response being prepared that will not look like anything they expected. They expected you to fall apart. They expected you to retaliate and destroy your own future in the process. They expected your silence to mean weakness. They misread every single sign. What you went through was not the end of your story. It was the pressure that precedes the diamond. It was the fire that refines what cannot be refined any other way. The people who caused your pain did not realize they were participating in your preparation. They thought they were ending something. They thought that by closing certain doors, by withdrawing their support, by speaking against your name, they were limiting your future. But what they could not see, what they were never equipped to understand, is that their actions were being woven into a larger plan. A plan that was designed before they ever entered your life. A plan that their betrayal could not interrupt, only accelerate. There is something important you must understand about the season you have just come through. The pain you experienced was real. It is not being minimized. The grief was legitimate. The confusion was understandable. You are not being told to pretend that what happened did not hurt or that the people involved were not wrong. They were wrong. What they did to you was wrong. And part of receiving this message fully is allowing yourself to acknowledge that without guilt, without the urge to excuse them, and without the pressure to rush into forgiveness before you have even been given the chance to heal. The truth of what was done to you does not need to be softened for this message to be received. You were wronged. And the one who saw it has not remained silent. There is a moment that comes in every person's life when they must decide whether they truly believe that justice exists beyond what human eyes can arrange. You have arrived at that moment. Not because everything has been explained to you and not because the situation has already resolved itself, but because you are being asked right now to settle something deep within your spirit, to accept that what was done to you did not escape the attention of the one who holds all things. Every action taken against you was witnessed. Every lie that was told about you was heard. Every smile that was placed in front of you while betrayal was being planned behind your back, all of it was seen with perfect clarity. And what is seen by divine eyes is never left without a response. The people who wronged you made a calculation. They decided, whether consciously or not, that you were safe to mistreat. They looked at your gentleness and mistook it for weakness. They looked at your patience and mistook it for ignorance. They looked at your silence and mistook it for surrender. They believed that because you did not fight back, because you did not expose them, because you chose to walk away with your dignity intact rather than drag yourself into conflict, They believed that meant they had won. They celebrated quietly. They moved on quickly. They convinced themselves that what they did carried no weight and would produce no consequence. That miscalculation is the very thing that sealed what is now coming toward them. Type 99 if you believe that God is a just God. Because divine justice does not operate on human timelines, and it does not require your involvement to be activated. You do not need to pursue them. You do not need to expose them. You do not need to spend another moment of your energy constructing a response to what they did. The response has already been constructed. It was put into motion the moment the wrong was committed against you. What is being prepared is not revenge, it is correction. And correction at a divine level is something that no amount of influence, money, connection, or cleverness can prevent or delay once it has been set in motion. They will regret what they did to you. Not because you forced them to feel it and not because you campaigned for their downfall. They will regret it because life itself will show them what they lost when they chose to treat you the way they did. They will regret it when the doors that are opening for you remain permanently closed to them. They will regret it when the favor that is beginning to rest on your life becomes visible to everyone around them, including themselves. They will regret the words they spoke against you when those same words are proven false by the testimony of your elevation. They will regret the relationships they poisoned when they find themselves surrounded by the very emptiness they tried to place over your future. And understand this, their regret will not come quietly. It will come in waves. First as a small, uncomfortable recognition that something is shifting in your favor. Then as a growing awareness that the person they dismissed is now walking in something they cannot access. And finally as a full and undeniable realization that they were wrong, not only in what they did but in who they thought you were. They underestimated you. And the full weight of that underestimation is going to land on them in a way that they will not be able to explain away or ignore. You will not have to say a single word. Your life will speak. And when it does, the silence in the room will be louder than anything they ever said about you. There is also something being removed from their lives in this season that they do not yet recognize as a consequence of what they did. Certain protections are being lifted. Certain doors that were previously open to them are beginning to close. Certain alliances they relied on are quietly unraveling. They may not connect it to you. They may not understand why things are suddenly feeling more difficult, why the confidence they once carried is beginning to feel hollow, why the path that seemed clear is now producing unexpected resistance. But you will understand it. Because you are being shown right now that the hand of justice is already moving. It moved the moment they touched what was not theirs to harm. And it will not stop until every account is fully settled. While they were celebrating what they thought was your defeat, something was happening that they could not see. While they were moving on with their lives, convinced that they had left you behind, a construction was taking place in the invisible realm that their eyes were never designed to detect. The very season that looked like your lowest point was, in truth, your most productive season. Not productive in the way the world measures productivity, not in visible achievements or public recognition, but productive in the deepest and most lasting sense. Your character was being deepened. Your discernment was being sharpened. Your capacity for what is coming was being enlarged in ways that could only happen through the exact pressure you were placed under. The people who hurt you did not break you. They built you. And they will one day have to live with the full understanding of what they contributed to. There is something you must grasp about the nature of divine preparation. It does not always look like blessing in the moment it is happening. It often looks like loss. It often feels like silence. There are seasons where everything you thought was stable begins to shift, where people you counted on begin to distance themselves, where opportunities you reached for seem to close before you can take hold of them. In those moments, the natural human response is to interpret all of that as failure, as punishment, as evidence that something is wrong with you or that you have been forgotten. But that interpretation is incorrect. What feels like abandonment is often alignment. What feels like loss is often removal. And what feels like delay is often the most precise and intentional positioning you have ever been placed in. Type 99 if you know that your setback was actually a setup. Because every closed door in your recent past was protecting you from something you could not fully see. There were environments that looked appealing that would have slowly drained everything that makes you who you are. There were relationships that felt promising that carried hidden patterns designed to keep you distracted from your purpose. There were opportunities that seemed like answers that would have led you further from what was truly prepared for you. And the same force that witnessed every wrong committed against you was also the force that quietly closed those doors before you could walk through them into something that would have cost you more than you ever would have been willing to pay. What is being built for you right now is not being built on the foundation of what you lost. It is being built on the foundation of what you survived. There is a significant difference between those two things. What you lost was temporary. What you survived has become permanent. The strength that developed in you during the seasons when no one was applauding, when no one was watching, when you had to find a reason to keep going entirely on your own, that strength is now the most valuable thing you carry. It cannot be bought. It cannot be faked. It cannot be transferred from someone else's journey to yours. It was forged specifically in you, through specifically what you went through, for a specific purpose that is now beginning to reveal itself. The people who entered your life only to leave, only to betray, only to take what they needed and disappear, they were never your destination. They were your curriculum. Every painful interaction taught you something about discernment that you could not have learned in comfort. Every betrayal showed you something about loyalty that you could not have understood without experiencing its absence. Every season of being underestimated gave you a clarity about your own identity that praise alone could never have produced. You know who you are now in a way that you did not know before the pain began. And that knowing, that deep, unshakable, tested and proven knowing of who you are, is exactly what the next chapter of your life requires you to carry. Something is coming that could not have found you before you went through what you went through. The version of you that existed before the betrayal, before the loss, before the painful seasons of waiting and questioning, that version was not yet ready. Not because you were lacking, but because what is coming requires a foundation that only experience can build. The doors that are about to open are not going to open for who you were. They are going to open for who you have become. And who you have become is someone that those who wronged you were never supposed to walk alongside into the next season. Their exit from your life, as painful as it was not a tragedy. It was a requirement. They could not come where you are going. And deep within you, in the place where truth lives before it reaches the surface, you already know that. There is a reversal that has already been declared over your life, and it is not contingent on anything you still need to do or prove. It is not waiting for you to become more deserving. It is not suspended until you reach a certain level of perfection or until you have fully processed every wound from your past. It has already been spoken. It has already been set in motion. And what has been declared by a voice greater than any human opinion, any social verdict, or any closed door, that declaration stands permanent and unbreakable regardless of what it looks like from the outside right now. The reversal is not coming. It is here. It is simply unfolding at a pace that your natural eyes have not yet been able to fully register. But your spirit already senses it. That is why you are watching this. That is why something in you would not let you scroll past. You felt it before you could name it. The same area where the attack came against you is the exact area where the restoration is being directed. This is how divine reversal works. It does not redirect your life away from the place of pain and rebuild something entirely unrelated somewhere else. It goes back to the precise point of the wound and it builds something there that is so undeniably powerful, so visibly restored, so clearly beyond what human effort alone could have produced, that everyone who witnessed the attack is forced to witness the restoration in the same space. The people who watched you struggle in that area will watch you flourish in that same area. The ones who spoke against your name in rooms you were never invited into will hear your name spoken with a completely different tone in rooms they now cannot access. The reversal is specific. It is surgical. And it is deeply intentional. Type 99 if you receive this reversal today. Because receiving it is not passive. Receiving it means you make a decision right now to stop agreeing with the narrative that was placed over you by people who never had the authority to define you. It means you consciously withdraw your agreement from every word spoken against you that you have been quietly rehearsing in your own mind. Every time you replayed what they said about you. Every time you allowed their assessment of your worth to sit in your spirit and slowly shape how you saw yourself. That ends now. You are not what they said. You are not the version of you that they needed you to be in order to justify what they did. You are what has been declared over you from a place they never had access to. And that declaration is the only one that carries any permanent weight. Now hear the instruction clearly, because this season requires your cooperation with what is being arranged. Do not go back. Do not return to the spaces, the relationships, or the habits that belong to the chapter that has already closed. There will be moments when familiarity tries to pull you backward, when something from your past presents itself as an opportunity or an olive branch or a second chance. You must develop the discernment to recognize the difference between genuine restoration and a trap disguised as reconciliation. Not everything that returns to your life is returning with good intention. Some things return only because they have noticed the shift in your favor and want to reattach before the full elevation becomes visible. Guard what has been built in you during this season with everything you have. Do not announce what is coming. This is one of the most critical instructions for this season. There is a silence that is required of you right now, not the silence of someone who has nothing to say, but the silence of someone who understands that the announcement of what God is doing in a life is best made by the life itself and not by the mouth. The moment you begin to tell people what is being prepared for you, you open a door for interference that was never supposed to exist. You give people information they were never meant to carry about your journey. And you trade the sacred privacy of your preparation for a temporary satisfaction that will cost you more than it gives you. Let your elevation speak when it arrives. Let your restoration announce itself. The most powerful testimony is the one that requires no introduction because it is impossible to argue with. Do not allow bitterness to take root in this season, no matter how justified it would feel. This is perhaps the most difficult instruction of all, because the bitterness would be understandable. Anyone looking at what you went through from the outside would agree that anger is a reasonable response. But bitterness is not anger. Bitterness is anger that has been allowed to stay past its season, and it will poison the very soil in which your breakthrough is trying to grow. Every moment of energy you spend in bitterness is a moment taken away from the alignment that is trying to establish itself in your life right now. Release them, not for their sake but for yours. Release the offense, release the need for an apology that may never come, release the weight of carrying what was done to you as your primary identity. You are not what happened to you. You are what is happening in you. And what is happening in you right now is far too valuable to be slowed down by the dead weight of what they did. You have arrived at the part of your story where everything begins to make sense. Not all at once and not without continued effort, but in a way that is steady, certain, and completely unlike anything you have experienced before. There is a clarity that is settling over your life right now that did not exist 6 months ago, 1 year ago, or in the middle of the seasons that broke you open. That clarity is not happening by accident. It is the direct result of everything you survived, everything you refused to become in the middle of your pain, and every moment you chose to keep moving forward when every visible sign was telling you to stop. You made it through something that was designed to finish you. And the fact that you are still here, still standing, still breathing, still believing, that alone is evidence that what is inside of you is greater than anything that was ever sent against you. The people who wronged you are beginning to feel something they cannot fully articulate. It is a quiet discomfort that has started to settle into their lives. A growing awareness that something shifted the moment they chose to mistreat you. Things that were once easy for them are beginning to require more effort. Relationships they relied on are beginning to show cracks. Opportunities they were certain about are beginning to feel uncertain. They may not connect any of it to you directly, and they may spend considerable energy trying to explain it away. But underneath every explanation they construct, there is a truth pressing upward that they cannot permanently suppress. The truth that they touched something they were never supposed to touch, and that there are consequences attached to that decision which no amount of maneuvering can prevent. Their season of reckoning is not a distant possibility. It is an active reality unfolding in real time, even as you read these words. Type 99 if you are ready to receive everything that has been prepared for you. Because preparation and reception are two different things, and both are required for the fullness of what is coming to land in your life. The preparation has been happening without your involvement. It has been taking place in the background of your pain, in the silence of your waiting, in the hidden work of every season that felt unproductive. But reception requires your active participation. It requires you to open your hands and release what they have been holding onto from the past. It requires you to open your mind and release the limited vision of what you thought your future could look like based on what you have already experienced. And it requires you to open your heart, fully, courageously, and without the protective walls that pain taught you to build, to something greater than what you have been able to imagine on your own. What is coming into your life will not arrive with confusion attached to it. This is one of the clearest signs that will confirm it is from the right source. Everything that was sent to distract you, to drain you, or to delay you carried confusion as one of its primary characteristics. You felt uncertain around it. You felt unsettled by it. You felt a constant low-level unease that you could never quite explain but could never quite silence either. What is coming will feel entirely different. It will arrive with a peace that is disproportionate to your circumstances, a peace that does not make logical sense given everything you have been through, but that settles into you so completely and so immediately that you will recognize it as confirmation rather than coincidence. When that peace arrives, do not question it. Do not search for the hidden problem within it. Do not allow the memory of past disappointments to cause you to hold it at arm's length. Receive it. It is real. It belongs to you. The connections that are being arranged for your next season are unlike the relationships that characterized your last one. The people who are being positioned to enter your life carry something that the ones who left could never offer you: genuine alignment. They are not coming to take from you. They are not coming to use your gifts for their own advancement while leaving you depleted. They are not coming with hidden agendas dressed in the language of friendship or opportunity. They are coming with the kind of loyalty that has been tested in their own lives, the kind of encouragement that costs something to give, and the kind of understanding that only people who have survived their own difficult seasons are capable of extending. You will recognize them not by what they say but by how you feel in their presence, steady, seen, and more fully yourself than you have felt in a very long time. You were not broken by what happened to you. You were being built. Every person who walked away was creating space. Every door that closed was providing direction. Every painful season was producing something in you that comfort never could have grown. And now, standing on this side of everything you endured, you carry something that cannot be manufactured, cannot be borrowed, and cannot be taken from you by anyone who may still try. You carry the testimony of someone who went through the fire and came out not smelling of smoke but shining with a clarity and a purpose that the fire itself could not destroy. They will regret what they did to you, not because your life became perfect but because your life became powerful. And power that is born out of genuine suffering, genuine faith, and genuine endurance is the kind of power that changes rooms the moment it walks in. That is who you are now. That is what you carry. And what is coming next will make sure that everyone, including those who doubted you most, will witness exactly what was being built inside of you all along. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Type 99 if you are ready.